like that.
And the question is, did Doug Pederson cost the Giants a playoff spot deliberately? And what do you think is the problem in Philadelphia? I'm going to start with you, Riv, since that's your favorite team, since you like birds, and that's your favorite team.
No, yeah, absolutely. He definitely did. And it's not I don't look at it as a bad thing. I think he just wanted a lower draft pick. I think he feels like what we need. I think the smart thing we're going to do is we're going to go receiver. And I think he feels like receivers won't be there at the pick we were going to get if we would have won. So I think he did throw away that game because there's no way you sit there and you put Nate Sudfeld in the game. You say, I think we're going to win. It's no way. It's no way in hell. We could have won that game with Jalen Hurts. Nate Sudfeld, he's not that good. Now, what was your second question? You said what?
What's the problem in Philly?
50%. This year, I give 50% Carson Wentz. The offensive line is old and injured. The receiving core is not good. Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson, we got to let them go. They're not that good. Defense, this is the first time in a while our secondary has been really, really well. They were 9th ranked this year, our secondary. Our defensive line, they struggled early, but they got up late, but they're getting old. So I think overall, we're in cap hell. Age is killing us. I think the front office, we're kind of in a loop now, especially with the quarterback situation. We don't know who to go with. Jalen Hurts had a few good games, but Wentz, allegedly, him and Pederson are having issues, but they allegedly are good friends. Zach Ertz, we haven't paid him, so we don't know what we're going to do. It's going to be a bad couple of years because we're in cap hell, but I think overall, the whole problem is from top to bottom, front office, offensive line, defensive line, everything.
Listen, and what's happening to the Eagles is what happens to teams not named the Patriots that go on to win or make the Super Bowl because you got to spend a lot. You look at the Rams, they don't care about trading picks. They don't care about giving out contracts. They give out whatever, and now we see them that they're kind of in a situation where they're stuck. And the Chiefs might be in a similar situation once they don't have any money to give anybody because Patrick Mahomes is making so much. And you look at the 49ers now, dealing with injuries. They're soon going to be in the cap hell. If they pay Jimmy, they certainly are. So this happens to those type of teams. Did Doug Pederson cost the Giants a playoff spot? I say, in a sense, he did. The Giants cost themselves a spot at the playoffs because they sucked the entire season. That's why. They had a good stretch of games, which is cool. But in reality, if they would have won 7 games, they would have been in the playoffs. So, I don't think it's too much to ask for a playoff team, to win 7 games.
This dude just called me a lover of birds.
But this, what I think, is everybody knew on the Eagles that he didn't want to win the game. You see that once Nate Sudfeld went in the game, there's a clip of Jalen Hurts on a sideline mouthing that this isn't right. You look at Jason Kelsey on the plays, he didn't even block for Nate Sudfeld. And what I think is so irresponsible of Doug Pederson to do this, I think it was irresponsible because, one, you should be wanting to see what Jalen Hurts has as a quarterback. But I also think it's irresponsible because I think Doug Peterson's play calling has been bad all year. This game in particular, you put Jalen Hurts out there in a position to fail. And not only that, outside of Jalen Hurts, when you put Nate Sudfeld in the game, a guy who has been on your team for a couple of years, and let's be honest, might be his only shot ever to get some real playing time in a regular season game, you completely sabotage him and sabotage his opportunity. And now, based off this, people might not even want him anymore. Not saying that they wanted him before, but you gave him a false opportunity. You didn't give him a real opportunity. You sabotaged him. And in Philadelphia, I think the problem is Doug Pederson. I think his play calling has been awful all year long. And if Philadelphia makes the decision to move off from Carson Wentz and keep Pederson, that's the worst decision they're ever going to make because Wentz is going to succeed and strive in another environment, and Pederson, on the track that he's on now, will not be the head coach in Philly in about 3 to 4 years. That's what I'm saying.
Is this Joel right here saying that?
Look,
wow.
Look, I'm fair. I'm not a very big fan of Carson Wentz, but when I see something is not going right, then I put on my Captain America uniform and I come to save the day and I come to give my 2 cents on things. But that's what I think. I think Doug Pederson has mismanaged this team the entire year.
Well, I'll start out with the first question, and my Giant fan friends are not going to be happy with me at this. The Eagles did not lose the Giants a playoff spot. The Giants lost the Giants a playoff spot. They won 6 games. So you can't complain about what anybody else did on you missing the playoffs when you won 6 games. You could have very easily made the playoffs if Evan Engram doesn't drop a pass for a first down against the Eagles with 2 minutes to go and they don't march down the field and score in those 2 minutes. You know, you could go back. There's a bunch of different situations where the Giants could have clinched the playoff spot themselves, but they just weren't that good of a team. Nobody in the NFC East was that good of a team consistently this season. I think the Washington football team has put it together the most, but the Giants cannot blame anybody else for them not making the playoffs. It's their own fault. They have nobody else to blame. Talking about Sunday night in particular, it was bad. And I tweeted after the game, Doug Pederson should be embarrassed. It was a joke, and his press conference was even worse. One thing I will say, even though I disagree with the move, I think it was stupid. I think it was bad timing. I think it was a poor coaching decision and just a poor decision as like anybody who could read the room and see what the response is going to be. Like you said, he set Nate Sudfeld up to fail. He did say earlier in the week he did want to get Sudfeld some meaningful snaps. So I don't think that this was some sabotage operation from Doug Pederson. I don't think he sat there and said, oh my God, the game is close. We don't want the Giants to make the playoffs. Let me throw in our backup. No, this was calculated. He knew he wanted to do it. But as a head coach of a football team, you have to see it's a 3-point game that another team is depending on you winning to clinch. It's a horrible spot to put your backup quarterback in. It's just, I can't get over how bad of a decision it is. It was not a winning decision. And when you're in a position like that, realistically, what was the difference in picks? What did they, I honestly don't know.
It would have been a pretty huge difference.
It was 9-6.
9-6?
9 or 6.
9 or 6. I was hearing that they could have dropped to like 13th.
If it was 9-6,
I know we got
it's
6
not
now.
that big of a difference. At that point, you should be playing. It's not like it was a difference between Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson or Justin Fields. You should be playing to win the game. And as a result of him not doing that, it seems like by all accounts he has lost the locker room there, which is going to be a problem moving forward. Forget about just this weekend or this offseason. It's not going to blow over. And the problems there's a bunch of problems, but I think it starts with Doug Pederson, because when you talk about Carson Wentz, your $100 million man, what's the problem that we keep talking about? It's or how can we fix Carson Wentz? How can Carson Wentz get back to his MVP form? Somebody needs to coach him up. That's the one thing that you hear whenever somebody talks about Carson Wentz. Somebody needs to fix his footwork. Somebody needs to give him his confidence back. And where do you gain that? From your coach. And he hasn't gotten that from Doug Pederson at all. So, I don't know. I just think from the top down, there's a lot of problems there. Like Riv said, the cap situation isn't great. And there are a couple of holes here and there that have just been like patchwork, run over and just tried to cover up the holes and go as far as you could without the wheels falling off. I don't think they're that far off, in that division, because I don't think anybody is that much of a contender in that division right now. But the problem is the Washington football team is going to get a quarterback. The Giants are going to might figure out some of their problems this offseason. The Cowboys, if they bring back Dak, everybody's going to be moving forward. And the Eagles are just going to be moving backwards because now they chose Doug Pederson. Like you said, Wentz is more than likely gone, and now Jalen Hurts is the guy. Can Jalen Hurts replicate what he did in 5 games this season next season? I question that.
I think what really destroyed my confidence is when Doug Pederson said J.J. Whiteside is going to continue to get more reps
my God.
next year. I can't suffer another failed draft. I can't. Like, I don't think we should miss on this drive. I think we have to really hit home on this drive. And I think, like you said, everybody's moving for Washington is young. They got a lot of young talent. The Giants have a lot of young talent. Dallas is getting their quarterback back. They still got some young talent out there too. We're just old and beat up. And I think the video of Kelsey, Ertz, and Wentz sitting on the field, I think that speaks volume. I think it's the end of an era for this Philly team. I think those 3 are probably going to be gone. Maybe not Kelsey, because, he still does what he does. But I think Ertz is gone. I think Wentz is going to end up being gone. I know for a fact Alshon is gone. Deshaun Jackson's probably we're going to get some cap back if we release him. So I think this is going to start the trend of the young guys, the Miles Sanders and the Jalen Reagor. I think we're going to see a lot of the young guys playing next year. And I think this is the end of the old guys. I even think Brandon Graham might be gone because he's probably our only trade value because it just doesn't make sense.
They're gonna go backwards.
See, the play that proved to me that they didn't want to win the game was when you decided to go for it and not kick the field goal and tie the game. You know, I didn't think there was any reason to go for it. It's not like it was like 2 yards away. It was like 6 yards away. Like they were no. You don't decide to go for it there. You decide to tie the game. So
if they cared about winning, they never would have taken Jalen Hurts out.
Yeah, exactly.
He wasn't playing. He wasn't having his best game, but he was playing at least okay, solid, good enough to win in a game that close. And he's the most dynamic playmaker you had on the field. So I don't get it at all.